they were still posting extensions of the season when their kids weren't involved anymore, which is exactly what we were hoping for. Now it's about making this a real community. Now this is our kids. It's no longer about my kid. This is about our kids.
We are surrounded by content. Content shapes who we follow, how we lead, what we buy, and even what we believe. Welcome to the Content Generation Podcast, a Class Intercom production where we focus on the stories that come to life in schools all over the world. We highlight the students, educators, and communities who share the content that shapes our future. Well, welcome back to the Content Generation Podcast. I'm Ben, and Dr. Jill, it is fun to be sort of in the same room with you.
Sort of. I'm in Missouri, in the Ozarks at some meetings here, but always good to be with you.
Hey, we've been a lot of different places. We haven't been in the same room. I just came back from the Colorado School PR Association conference, Camp Cospra. Had a great time, a lot of great people, and was really fun. There's some folks that will make their way out of the podcast from there. So really appreciate them. I know we've been hitting the Southwest in Arizona, SPRA. We've been hitting some East Coast trips, and it's really fun to see a lot of the school communication really coming together post-graduation.
Yeah, for sure. I actually got to keynote a conference this week virtually, but in Porterville, California, where they were doing a summer camp for their new student intern program. So yeah, I mean, a lot's been happening since graduation. School's out, but school communication is in, right?
It is very much in. For those of you who don't have a Schools Out PR is in shirt, that was one of our early t-shirt designs for Class Intercom, and certainly continue to represent that. But today's podcast guest, Dr. Jill, would love to hear from you. I know you met them at a conference, and really fun to see how Emily and Brent have really done so many good things.
Yeah, so it's really amazing. You know, when you meet someone for the first time, I actually met them at the ParentSquare Summit in Connecticut last fall. They were just really working on building relationships internally and figuring out what they could do. And I just can't wait for you guys to hear about how they took a challenge and a problem and a stress point in their community, and they have turned it into, I think, literally something magical, and it continues to grow. I really do feel like it's going to be a blueprint for other schools. So I'm really excited for people to hear more from Emily and Brent, because they are a dynamic duo of comms and athletic director, which we don't always hear that. So it's fabulous.
Absolutely. I want to lean into that a little bit. I think, at times we look at the different roles within schools and we say, sometimes if we can get them to really connect, like you said, magical, sometimes a fairy tale
Right.
almost can happen out of that. And I think it's a fairy tale story there.
Mhm. It really is. I mean, and it shouldn't be that way, that
Mhm.
comms and HR and ADs are like this. But the bigger the school, a lot of times they're in their silo, they're trying to get their own things done. And I love that. It's one thing that Class Intercom can really do, is to help streamline that and build collaboration. And again, I just love when our clients take what we've built and the resources that we provide, and then they take it to another level. And you're just like, wow, it does seem like a fairy tale. And again, when you hear about how they're getting parents involved, you're going to think we don't have those parents in our district, but we do. We all do. Most of our parents are fantastic. So.
Yeah. Well, I'm really excited to share this podcast with you all, and really excited to see the way that Emily and Brent have really taken things to another level in a lot of areas. And hopefully that serves as an inspiration for many of us. I know it did for me.
100%.
Welcome back to the Content Generation Podcast. I have two great guests with me today, Emily and Brent. It is so good to be with you on the podcast, and I'm excited to dive into the conversations.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Well, I'm excited to hear a little bit of your stories together, but can you give me a little bit of background on where you're both coming at school PR from? Like, what does this look like?
Go ahead, you can go first.
School PR. So I came from public relations originally. I did corporate PR, left corporate PR to have my first baby and realized I liked having children or liked my children. Had a couple more and went into the classroom and got my degree in elementary education. Spent some time in the classroom and found a way to combine both of those passions. And then there was an opportunity for me to use both of those passions in a job, which really has worked out. And I have been very blessed with the opportunity to work in my hometown and my alma mater at my own school district and do school PR, which is really special because I get to kind of tell my story and tell our school story with a lot of passion, and be a warrior for my whole life, which is what I love doing. And I get to have my kids at work with me and my husband at work with me. And that's really cool for me. So
Awesome. And Emily, you're going to sit for APR here sometime soon.
yeah, I'm hoping to have that done. Goal is by April of next year.
Awesome.
Yeah, lifetime
Awesome.
goal. So
Congrats. And Brent, how do you come into a communication role? What does this look like for you?
Yeah, I'm definitely a rookie. So my experience in it has only been this year. I'm the athletic director at the high school. So I've been an athlete my whole life. So I have some idea about PR, like through college, like you're meeting with media and stuff like that. And then you become a coach, you meet with that type of stuff. So like you have like the glimpses and the information a little bit to that. But like from a day-to-day work standpoint, I'm not handling that a ton outside of the time that I start working with Emily. We formed a good bond right away. You know, I'm also a Wawasee grad. We won't say who's older. But no, Wawasee grad, and no, I've known Emily for a while. Her kids played athletics while I was an athletic director and the coach. So like we already had that kind of working relationship already. And then she fell into her role, came into her role, and we just worked seamlessly together this year so far. So just working on some initiatives that are benefiting the athletic department, and Emily has been a tremendous asset to help us along the way. So it's been a great working relationship so far and a true benefit to our athletic department, but definitely a rookie on that side of stuff.
Now, you said great working relationship. So this means that you come to work and it's roses and you're
All the
skipping
time.
into work,
every day.
talking about communications every day. Is that how it works?
Yeah, it's
absolutely.
just every day. We get along so great every day and we don't argue ever.
Nope.
And nope, there was not a knockdown drag out fight in this office just a week ago.
Yeah.
And I have never cried ever.
It definitely, honestly, I've appreciated that though at times. Like if
true.
it was like, oh, yeah, everything's perfect, then like we wouldn't be pushing each other in our own roles. So like, I honestly kind of like it's not combative. It's never like a major issue, but there are things that she sees and views that she has from a communication standpoint. And maybe that just doesn't fit real well in an athletic standpoint, or athletics doesn't fit real well in the communication side. But you have to find that middle ground so where you can balance the two and it benefit both sides of it. Go ahead.
You also have to have a healthy respect for the person that you're working with. Like, I know that, and you know too, like you have to have that balance where he can say something and Emily, that's just not the way it is. And I have to understand that like sometimes in athletics, that's just not the way it is, even though I want this to be done this way so badly, and vice versa.
Yeah.
And you have to have that healthy respect that like, okay, it may not be able to be done that way, but is there a loop around? And okay, but can I loop around and make that happen in a different direction for you? You can't do that, but can I? Yeah. I can't do that, but can you? Like, there has to be a healthy balance. And then also get up tomorrow and realize, okay, we still have to work together, and that's okay. And get along and not hate each other for it.
100% true. 100% true. And I think that's where our previous relationship coming into that, both going to the same high school, both being about the same age, like it's not like we were coming into this not knowing one another. So like we came into it knowing and having kind of that healthy relationship already established and developing it in a positive way as we go. Like I understand there are plenty of times when I probably make her more mad than she makes me because there's something that I want to do and she's like, nah, I can't do that. But yeah, just understanding where each other are coming from and having respect for what the other person does. Like I know how difficult her job can be. I think she understands how difficult mine can be, and having a balance between that definitely makes the working relationship a positive one, I think. Because in all honesty, in the conversations we've had through some meetings or a trip that we went on to learn some professional development stuff, like everybody was saying like athletics and communications doesn't always get along real well. And I was like, well, I don't understand why. Like we're fine, right? But I can see where there are struggles and there are difficulties. So we just work through them the best we possibly can, knowing that both of us have the best interests of our students and our corporation at heart, from day one.
So you mentioned traveling professionally. I believe the ParentSquare conference was, and that's the ParentSquare User Summit is potentially where we connected with you, or Dr. Jill did originally. And part of that conversation was the two of you went together to kind of build a different comms plan for the school, and maybe tell us a little bit about that and what that initiative looked like for you.
Yeah. Dr. Troyer, our superintendent, sent us to the ParentSquare conference. And I think the original intent was just go. His actual words were, and come back getting along.
Oh, okay.
Or the sunshine and roses. So we had our own ideas of how this was going to look when we first started working together. And we knew the end goal, and we both had a different way of wanting to get that to happen. And so we also both were really passionate about Wawasee and what that meant. And so we went, and he's really busy, and he's a one-man department, and I'm really busy, and I'm a one-man department. And so we're both very used to, like, we have to get to point B, and we have to get there doing all of the work. And I don't have time to do a lot of your extra work. So if you need me to do this, fine, I will add it to my things and get there. But I don't have time to do it your perfect way. So let's roll. So that's kind of where we were. And we went to ParentSquare, and we attended we were at Joe Sanfilippo's. And I have actually a picture I had sent to Dr. Troyer. He had sent me a text and was like, hey, how are things going? And I have this picture of Brent, of him, like that, almost that exact moment of him listening to Joe. And in that moment, Brent turned around to me and he was like, I get it. Like, what do we have to do? Like, I get the storytelling part. Like, what do we have to do to make this happen? And within that moment, Dr. Jill started presenting on, like, here's the software to like make this, help you with this. And we kind of, like, that evening went back and over a soft drink figured out how to make it work.
Yeah.
And literally, it was almost from that moment we started mapping it out, and we rebranded the athletic department. Like, it was a very soft, like, how much do you trust me? Like, are you willing to blow up the athletic department? And like, are you willing to try this? And you kind of were.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, from my standpoint too, I was going into that, like, what can I pull from the professional development opportunity that not many people would have an opportunity to pull from? Like, I was the only athletic director in the whole.
The princess.
Yeah, exactly. So I went into it just like, what are there a couple things I can pull from this to help benefit our athletic department with whatever it is? We had some conversations, some ideas leading up to that, but nothing was like sticking necessarily like a direction we wanted to go. But listening to Joe and then hearing from Dr. Jill throughout, it was like that aha moment, like, okay, I understand what they're saying now and how we can have our athletic department benefit from that, because we were just providing, the athletic environment for our student athletes, providing it to our community and that stuff. And then the narrative was like just being left up to the community to make their own assumptions or their own determinations on what was going on, whether we won the game or lost the game or how a coach is interacting and, all of the ins and outs of the athletic department. And I said, you know what, like, why are we leaving it up to them? And I think this was what Emily was trying to get me to understand and see, like, you have to tell the story.
And otherwise they say it for you.
Yeah, exactly. Otherwise they're going to say it for you, or they're going to create their own story. And again, in my one person department, that is, okay, this is another thing that's added to my plate. I got to do this. How can we find another way for me to like oversee that, but not take it on fully on top of everything else that I'm doing and on top of everything else that she's doing. So throughout that, again, we go see Dr. Jill, we listen to her presentation, and boom, there's Class Intercom that's available for us to utilize. And then from there on, it kind of just snowballs and you keep building that momentum to say, we have our parent ambassador program, and we build from that to start developing our own story, our own brand within the athletic department. So it was a process. Like, it's not like
it's still
one
a
day.
process.
It 100% is. 100% is.
Yeah.
We're still processing.
Well, I love the way you're talking about it, because it's not like we just all of a sudden we had no story and now we do, right?
Yeah.
Like this is a process, and this is something that takes time to do that. Walk me through what happened next. So you've been with ParentSquare, you now sign up for Class Intercom, but you started to think about how your story is different and that other people could tell that story. Like what happened from there?
Yeah. So it's interesting. I was telling my son this afternoon or this morning that we had these engagements this afternoon, and he doesn't understand how cool we are. He loves Mr. Doty. He calls him the Dodester.
Nice.
So I was telling him, like, no, there's some like national things that are thinking the ambassador program is like pretty cool. And I said, Class Intercom is really kind of designed for students, and Mr. Doty and I are the first kind of people that put it in the hands of parents. And he's like, Mom, you really need to get some of the parents involved and have the parents talk about this, because the parents made the ambassador program cool. And I was like, you're kind of right. Like, we had some really amazing parent ambassadors this spring that kind of made it really awesome. Like, our parent ambassador program this spring, we had parents that we picked some parents that were kind of our heavy hitters that were not making the narratives that we wanted. And so we purposefully picked. And by the end of the season, the spring season, it was a pilot program, and we have a lot of things to iron out still for fall season. But I would say even those parents were praising us.
Yeah.
Like, we were getting text messages. I mean, they were still posting for sports, or they were still posting extensions of the season when their kids weren't involved anymore.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which is exactly what we were hoping for. Mm-hmm. So the fact that we have families and parents engaged in sports and seasons, continuing to tell the story when their kids, their personal children, are no longer involved, that's awesome.
That's huge. Yeah.
That's huge. Yeah. Because now it's about making this a real community. Now this is our kids. It's no longer about my kid. This is about our kids and being a lawyer and being a Wawasee part of the community. And that was the goal, right? Like, the whole point was, look what our kids are doing.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, we had one sport where we couldn't get somebody to volunteer to be an ambassador for.
Yeah.
And one of our parent ambassadors stepped up and said, I'll do it. And so she was collecting pictures and putting posts out for a second sport, so those kids didn't feel like they weren't being represented. I mean, it just was, cool.
It-
It was
it-
just
Yeah.
cool.
It really was. And to add to that too, like one of my, or not, I'm not saying it was our goal because we talked about it with our administration stuff, but like one of the value, we were focusing on our values within the athletic department. And one of them was community engagement or community involvement. So we're trying to come up with ways how we can get engaged with our community. You know, it's one thing for our teams to go out and we have them do service projects in the community, whether it's cleaning up or working at food pantry or packing meals that go over to overseas and stuff like that. But how could we step outside of that even more and get our community more engaged? And as we came back from the professional development, we talked. Dr. Troyer talked with us, and we kind of initiated and came up with this idea of the parent ambassadors. 100% of that credit goes to Emily and Dr. Troyer. Like that was not something that I had come up with, because Emily comes and says, "Hey, Class Intercom has this opportunity. You can get various people on the thread that they can present and send out that information to social media." So they come up kind of with the scenario, and then we start working collaboratively together to create these parent ambassadors that can, from my standpoint, from my view, this is more connected to our community now. We're getting the parents involved. Plus, it also gives them a little peek behind the scenes to see what the story actually is, instead of the only story is what's on the scoreboard. Did we win or lose? Or how did the coach act on the sideline? That's not the only story that's going on. It's all the other things behind the scenes that are going on, that our teams are doing, that our coaches are doing, that are positively impacting not only the kids, but the community. So again, it was a way for us to connect with our community and give them a peek behind the scenes a little bit to say, hey, there's some really great things actually going on. You might just not see them on a Tuesday night at the golf course or a Thursday night at the softball field. You're not seeing those things outside of the wins and losses. So let's try and show them those moments where it is really positive.
How did this change the narrative from you're using ParentSquare for this, and now you're using something different for a different purpose? How did you see those two as connected?
Yeah, we didn't connect ParentSquare and Class Intercom. So we were, at the district level, we tried really hard to create a framework for communication and very defined spaces. So ParentSquare was very much that space of information, and social media was very much that space for celebration. And in athletics, that space wasn't defined as well. And so we have spent the last year in athletics trying to define that space. And so we pushed our coaches, which has been received fairly well with our coaches, to really use ParentSquare as our only communication platform. Before, we were kind of all over the board on what they were communicating with. And so ParentSquare is that one true form of communications with our kids and parents. And so that is what they're using to one-on-one communicate with kiddos. And so we were looking at ParentSquare as communication and Class Intercom as celebration. And so we really wanted to find spaces for those families to say, if I want to know what's going on and where to celebrate and where to find out who won what, I'm going to go to social media and use Class Intercom for that. And if I want to know when practice is and I want to know what's going, where I'm supposed to be when, I'm using ParentSquare for that. And so we really started with defined spaces and went from there.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know what I would add to make that any better. Like that's 1,000% true. Like your basic information needs to be communicated through ParentSquare, and then anything that we're going to celebrate goes on to social media to, again, provide to our community. Our community's not getting what uniform are you wearing on Thursday night for the game. So yeah, it's two very unique and specific spaces, but that serve their purpose extremely well.
Awesome. Well, and it sounds like the work you've done with parents has been a really amazing trip. What did you assign parents to do?
Be
Yeah. From the Parent Ambassador Program side of things, we, identified some specific parents that we would like to have be part of that program. But at the same time, we took some insight or some information from our coaches, because they have to work very closely together. The coaches have to be able to provide information to a parent that they might not typically provide, for the information that would be celebrated and shown, and give them a little more access to our events and our practices and stuff like that. So we have kind of asked a lot of our parents within the Parent Ambassador program, but they across the board have been willing to share and help with that. And I think as the program continues to develop, there'll only be even more that will want to be part of that. Because as a longtime coach, like, as long as you make the parents involved and like keep them engaged, they're going to support you day in and day out. When you start like keeping them at bay, that's when they start to like take the other side and not want to be as supportive. So like the more you can bring them along and make them part of the experience, because they just want to be part of their kids' experience, whether it's at the high school or in athletics or any other extracurriculars. They just want to be part of the experience. So we need to make sure that we're providing that to them as well. And the Parent Ambassador program is a great way to do that.
Yeah.
From ParentSquare side, that's more just informational, getting that information out to the parents and having it be consistent from every sport, from the fall to the winter to the spring. Like, where you're going to go, so they can consistently know that, hey, I'm getting this information. If I'm not getting it, I know who to go to and how to contact them really simply. So our coaches use it every day now, whereas before it was a hodgepodge of all kinds of stuff that we were using.
Yeah. And if it's not working, you hear about it, which is fantastic. Like,
Yeah.
I would rather know.
Another thing too, and I just thought of this as you were saying that, like, it was real easy for parents to have an excuse like, oh, I didn't know, or I didn't see this information that came across. Now there is no excuse, like, because it's tied to our student services platform. So you don't have an excuse of not seeing the information other than you just didn't go look at it. So that's where ParentSquare has been truly helpful for us. Like, nope, this information was sent out. Here's when it was. If you had any questions, you could have contacted us really easy. So it's a good balancing act, right? It's super beneficial for the parents to get the information that they need, be able to celebrate their athletes, celebrate our teams, but it's super beneficial for us too, knowing that our information is being provided consistently to them.
Yeah. We did offer a training session for our ambassadors. So we did a 2-hour training session with our parents that walked them through kind of their responsibilities and their expectations once they got into Class Intercom and started posting. So we had some baseline of what we expected if they were going to be using our social media. A lot of that involved branding and how we needed them to represent Wawasee and how we represented our being a warrior. They received an ambassador swag. So if they were wearing the W, what that meant to be just like our athletes, when you wear the W, it means something. And so if you're a parent ambassador, that ambassador shield means something. And so at Wawasee, it meant you got into the spring sports for free. And so if you're wearing the shield and you're in the spring sports for free, you're doing a job, and we expect you to act like one of our employees, which means that comes with a little bit of decency. And so ambassador means spreading of good faith and goodwill, which means you shouldn't be out there spreading a negative narrative. You should be spreading goodwill about the athletic program and our kids and our sports and the great things that our coaches are doing. And because you got that peek behind the curtain, you see how hard our kids are working and how hard our coaches are working. And that means that you should be telling those stories as well. And so that was kind of the other push behind this program, is that, it's so easy to say, yeah, they lost Friday night, nobody's working hard. Well, that's not really true. And now you know that. And so the hope is every year we build another group of ambassadors that knows the truth and can spread that faith. And so, every season is a little stronger.
Well, I love the leadership that you two have together in thinking about others telling your story and the responsibilities you've taken to help them and enable them to tell that story. Your story is inspiring, and congrats to everything you're doing at Wawasee.
Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah.
Well, thanks for sharing it with us. And I look forward to, Emily, I know you'll be at NSPRA here very
Yeah,
soon.
I haven't heard. Is Princess joining me
I
in
don't
DC?
think I'm going to be joining. So I'm very upset that I don't get to make it, but no, I think I have a couple other things going on, so I'll unfortunately not make it.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, good to connect with you both, and look forward to continuing to watch your story.
Thanks again.
Appreciate it.